Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely radical idea that might just break everything you thought you knew about money. We've all been conditioned to believe that to make more money, you just need to grind harder, stay later, and put in more hours. But what if that's exactly the opposite of what the world's wealthiest people actually do? Today, we're unpacking the leverage blueprint to discover why smart work, not necessarily hard work, is the absolute real engine of wealth. Okay, let's dive right into this. Why is it that the hardest workers out there rarely make the most money? I mean, really think about it for a second. The folks working grueling 80-hour weeks in manual labor or grinding through endless overtime corporate shifts are almost always the most exhausted and burned out. Yet, they usually aren't the ones topping the wealth charts. If you have ever felt completely drained at the end of the work week, but still found yourself stressed out about your bank account, this explainer is going to validate exactly what you are experiencing. So here's our roadmap for today's masterclass. We'll start by busting the myth of hard work, then move into the power of leverage, cover high-income skills and systems, explore building multiple income streams, and finally lay out the 10-year millionaire roadmap. Let's get to it. Section 1. The myth of hard work, redefining the path to wealth. Listen to this quote. Income grows through value creation and leverage, not hours worked. It exposes a cold, hard, mathematical reality. Time is strictly finite. You get 24 hours in a day, no exceptions, right? If your wealth is tied exclusively to an hourly wage, your bank account has a hard, unbreakable ceiling. Wealthy people understand this deeply. They focus entirely on the value they create, not the clock. Think about the traditional hustler mentality, doing hard work. They trade time for money in a model that just doesn't scale, causes massive stress, and limits long-term wealth because they are simply trying to out-earn their monthly expenses. Now, compare that to a strategic millionaire employing smart work. They trade value for money. This is highly scalable, actually reduces stress, and generates exponential wealth. It's literally about focusing your energy on building lasting assets rather than just working to buy things. Moving right along to Section 2, the power of leverage, multiplying your output. So the crucial point is understanding exactly what this word actually means in the real world. Leverage is the strategic use of systems, capital, or people to multiply results without adding hours to your day. Think of it like a physical lever. You apply a tiny bit of effort on one end to move a massive, heavy boulder on the other. Without this kind of leverage, you are always going to be the bottleneck in your own wealth creation. Leverage basically falls into 4 distinct buckets. First up, labor, using other people's time by building teams or delegating tasks. Second is capital, using your money to make more money through compounding investments. Then it gets really exciting with technology. That's using code, AI, and software to do the heavy lifting for you 24/7. And finally, media leverage. You can write an article or record a piece of content once, and the whole shebang works for you globally while you sleep. These tools scale your value infinitely without adding a single hour to your workday. Section 3. High-income skills and systems, the tools of the wealthy. All of this begins with high-income skills. We're talking about things like sales, marketing, negotiation, copywriting, leadership, investing, business strategy, and of course, AI. And notice, you don't necessarily need a traditional 4-year college degree for these. Mastering just 1 or 2 shifts you entirely into a problem-solving mindset. When you learn copywriting or sales, for example, you aren't just pushing paper anymore. You are learning how to directly generate revenue, making your personal value absolutely skyrocket. Once you've got those skills under your belt, you apply the Smart Work framework. First, focus. You've got to ruthlessly apply the 80-20 principle to revenue-generating tasks. Second, systemize. Create repeatable standard operating procedures, or SOPs, for the things you do often. Third, automate. Let technology handle the rest. So, why does the specific order matter? Because this framework totally eliminates low-value work. Imagine automating all your email filtering and client onboarding. Suddenly, you have hours freed up to make high-level, highly profitable decisions. All right, Section 4. Building multiple income streams, diversifying your wealth. And this brilliantly illustrates how millionaires actually think differently about their finances. They never ever rely on just a single paycheck. Instead, they build a dynamic ecosystem of income. You have your active income, that's the money you actively work for, but you layer that with passive income and portfolio income generated from investments. By building this balanced ecosystem, if one stream happens to dry up, no big deal. The others just keep flowing and compounding. But where do these streams actually come from in the real world? We're talking about building online businesses and platforms, stock investments, acquiring real estate, creating digital products, or earning royalties. The amazing thing here is that absolutely none of these are magical hidden secrets. They are established, incredibly accessible vehicles that generate consistent, diversified cash flow for anyone willing to learn them. Which brings us to Section 5, the 10-Year Millionaire Roadmap, your blueprint to financial independence. Okay, I want you to picture yourself moving through this exact timeline. In your first 12 months, you are relentlessly focused on learning those valuable high-income skills. Over the next couple of years, you leverage those skills to dramatically boost your active income. By years 3 to 5, your lifestyle stays exactly the same, but you are strictly saving and investing the surplus. Next, you actively build long-term assets. As you approach years 7 to 9, you start heavily scaling through the leverage tools we just discussed. The result? By year 10, the compound returns of this disciplined, smart work result in true, total financial independence. Of course, a roadmap only works if you avoid the hazards along the way. The most common trap? Lifestyle inflation. It is so human nature to spend more just because you're earning more, but that will completely derail your progress. Accumulating consumer debt, falling for get-rich-quick schemes, ignoring your financial education, or simply working hard without a strategy are surefire ways to fail. Sustainable wealth creation absolutely demands vigilance against these quiet wealth killers. Let's move to the action plan and see how this all builds together, because knowledge is literally useless without execution. You need to commit to daily habits focused entirely on high-value work. Build weekly habits, like reviewing your systems to see exactly what can be automated, and monthly habits, like strictly checking your savings rate. Tie all of this into massive annual goals. This is how you translate theory into an unstoppable routine. Which leaves us with this final, absolutely critical question for you to consider. Are you working for your time, or are you building systems that work for you? Take a hard look at your daily routine. The true path to becoming a millionaire isn't paved with exhaustion. It's engineered through leverage, high-income skills, and strategic, smart work. Stop trading your finite time for money. Start building your systems today and take absolute control of your financial future.